Let me make one thing abundantly clear at the outset of our discussion. When I speak of God ordering your steps, I am not referring to some external deity who manipulates your life like pieces on a chessboard. No. I am speaking of the God who is your own wonderful human imagination, the God who is the very consciousness that dwells within you. For consciousness is the one and only reality, and your consciousness is God in action. Tonight I wish to share with you how God, your own wonderful human imagination, orders your steps every single day. For once you truly comprehend this principle, you will never again feel lost, abandoned, or at the mercy of chance. You will know with absolute certainty that every event, every encounter, every circumstance in your life is divinely orchestrated by the God within you. Let us begin with a fundamental truth. The world that you perceive is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the contents of your consciousness. As within, so without. Your inner assumptions, beliefs, and feelings are continually being projected outward and solidified into what you call your reality. This is how God orders your steps, through the power of your assumptions. Consider for a moment what you assume to be true about yourself, about others, about the world at large. These assumptions, these fixed beliefs, are not mere thoughts. They are creative forces that shape and mold the substance of your experience. When you assume that life is difficult, that people cannot be trusted, that success is beyond your reach, you are, in that moment, ordering your steps toward experiences that will confirm these assumptions. Conversely, when you assume the best, when you dwell in the certainty that you are guided, protected, and divinely supported, you are ordering your steps toward manifestations of these higher truths. This is the law, and the law is God in action. But how, you might ask, does this process unfold in the practical reality of your day-to-day life? Let me illustrate with a simple example. Imagine that you awaken in the morning with a feeling of joy and anticipation. You dwell in the assumption that this day will bring wonderful opportunities and delightful encounters. As you move through your day, you find yourself naturally drawn to certain locations, certain people, certain activities. Perhaps you decide on a whim to take a different route to work, or to visit a cafe you've never been to before. In that cafe, you meet someone who introduces you to an idea or opportunity that perfectly aligns with a desire you've been nurturing in your heart. Was this chance? Was it coincidence? No, my dear friend. It was God ordering your steps. The assumption of joy and opportunity that you embodied in the morning was the divine directive that orchestrated each moment of your day, leading you unerringly to the fulfillment of that assumption. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanism by which God orders your steps. Everything begins with a state of consciousness. A state is a mood, an attitude, a feeling about yourself or life. At any given moment, you are dwelling in a particular state, and from that state, certain behaviors, thoughts, and actions naturally flow. If you are in a state of anxiety, you will think anxious thoughts, notice potential threats in your environment, and take actions designed to protect yourself from perceived danger. If you are in a state of confidence, you will think empowering thoughts, notice opportunities in your environment, and take bold actions aligned with your desires. The key to allowing God to order your steps in a way that leads to the fulfillment of your desires is to consciously choose the state from which you operate. This choice is made not through intellectual decision-making, but through the feeling, the emotion, the conviction that the desired state is already yours. In my own experience, I have witnessed this principle in action countless times. I recall a period in my life when I desired to share these teachings with a wider audience. Instead of striving and struggling to make this happen through external means, I simply assumed the feeling of already being a successful teacher and author, reaching thousands with this message of truth. From that state of fulfilled desire, I found myself naturally taking certain steps, making certain decisions, speaking certain words, all of which led, with what appeared to be miraculous precision, to opportunities that allowed this desire to materialize in my world. But there was no miracle involved, only the perfect, immutable law of consciousness. This law operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 must equal 4, so must your assumptions, persisted in, crystallize into objective facts in your world. This is how God orders your steps, not through capricious intervention or arbitrary favor, but through the flawless operation of law. But I hear your objection, Neville. If God is ordering my steps, and God is my own wonderful human imagination, why do I experience unwanted events? Why do I encounter obstacles and difficulties? Surely I am not consciously imagining these challenges. The answer lies in what I call your mental diet, the sum total of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that you have accepted as true over the course of your life. Many of these were implanted in your consciousness during childhood by well-meaning parents, teachers, and authority figures, and figures also were operating from limited understanding. Others were formed through your interpretation of past experiences. These beliefs and assumptions operate below the threshold of your conscious awareness, silently directing your steps toward experiences that confirm them. This is why self-examination is so crucial. You must become aware of the contents of your consciousness if you would take control of the direction of your life. I tell you now, with absolute conviction, that there is no force outside of your own consciousness that can dictate the course of your life. There is no fate, no luck, no chance that can override the creative power of your assumptions. God, your own wonderful human imagination, orders your steps in perfect accordance with what you accept as true. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives, the principle of revision. Revision is the art of mentally rewriting past events to align with your desires. If you have experienced something unwanted, you can, in your imagination, revise that event to unfold as you would have preferred. In doing so, you alter not only your memory of the past, but also the trajectory of your future. Why does revision work? Because time as we experience it in this three-dimensional world is an illusion. There is only the eternal now, the present moment in which all possibilities exist simultaneously. When you revise the past in your imagination, you are not pretending or fantasizing, you are actually selecting a different reality from the infinite array of possible realities that exist within your consciousness. Through revision, you cleanse your mental diet of toxic assumptions and beliefs that have been ordering your steps toward unwanted experiences. You replace these with empowering assumptions that will, with the same precision, order your steps toward desired experiences. But perhaps the most profound aspect of God ordering your steps is this: the ultimate purpose behind every event, every encounter, every circumstance in your life is to awaken you to your true identity as God. Everything that happens to you, whether you label it as good or bad, is designed to lead you to this supreme realization. This is why I urge you not to judge the events of your life by appearances. The encounter that seems most challenging may be the very catalyst needed to propel you toward a greater understanding of your divine nature. The disappointment that feels most bitter may be the precise experience required to dissolve a limiting belief that has been holding you captive. God orders your steps not for your comfort, but for your awakening. And in that awakening lies a joy and a freedom that transcends all worldly pleasure and success. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. Sold into slavery by his brothers, imprisoned unjustly, forgotten by those he helped from all outward appearances. Joseph's steps were being ordered towards suffering, yet each of these seemingly tragic events was positioning him precisely where he needed to be to fulfill his ultimate purpose and realize his divine identity. When Joseph finally revealed himself to his brothers, he spoke these profound words: "But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." Joseph recognized that despite the appearances of evil, God was ordering his steps toward a greater good that could not have been accomplished through any other sequence of events. In your own life, can you look back at events that seemed tragic or painful at the time they occurred, only to discover later that they were essential steps leading you toward a greater good? This is the wisdom of hindsight. But I tell you that you need not wait for the passage of time to gain this perspective. You can know right now that regardless of appearances, God is ordering your steps toward your highest good, your complete awakening. But how do you align yourself with this divine orchestration? How do you consciously participate in the ordering of your steps? The answer is both simple and profound. You must live from the end. To live from the end means to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to dwell in the absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours, not as a future possibility, but as a present fact. When you live from the end, you are not trying to make something happen. You are acknowledging what already is in the realm of consciousness, which is the only reality. This principle is beautifully illustrated in Scripture. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. To believe that you receive before you see external evidence is the essence of living from the end. It is the recognition that in consciousness, in imagination, in the only reality that truly exists, your desire is already fulfilled. When you live from the end, God orders your steps with flawless precision toward the manifestation of that end in your three-dimensional experience. You need not concern yourself with the how or the when. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the assumption that your desire is already yours. This fidelity to your assumption is what Scripture calls faith. Faith is not hoping or wishing. It is the conviction of the reality of things not yet seen with the physical eye. It is knowing that what is true in consciousness must by law materialize in experience. I recall a lady who attended my lectures in New York. She desired a specific apartment in a building that had no vacancies. Instead of focusing on the apparent impossibility of her desire, she began to live from the end. Each night before sleep, she would imagine falling asleep in that very apartment, feeling the satisfaction of already living there. She persisted in this assumption for several weeks, never wavering despite the fact that there was no external evidence to support her claim. Then, through a series of events that no human intellect could have planned or predicted, the exact apartment she desired became available, and she was offered the lease. Was this coincidence? No, it was God ordering her steps in perfect alignment with her persistent assumption. The feeling of living in that apartment, which she faithfully maintained in her imagination, was the divine directive that orchestrated every event leading to its physical manifestation. This lady did not have to manipulate circumstances or persuade people. She did not have to plot and plan and struggle. She simply had to assume the feeling of her wish fulfilled, and from that state of fulfillment, God ordered her steps unerringly toward the objective embodiment of her desire. Now, let me address a question that often arises: if God is ordering my steps, and God is my own wonderful human imagination, do I have free will? Am I truly making choices, or is everything predetermined? The answer is both profound and paradoxical. You have absolute freedom to choose the state of consciousness from which you operate. This is your divine right, your divine gift, and no person or circumstance can deprive you of it. However, once you have chosen a state, the thoughts, feelings, actions, and experiences that flow from that state are determined by the nature of the state itself. If you choose a state of wealth consciousness, you will naturally think, feel, and act in ways consistent with that state, and your experiences will reflect this consciousness back to you. If you choose a state of poverty consciousness, your thoughts, feelings, actions, and experiences will likewise align with that choice. This is the true meaning of free will. It is not the freedom to control external events or to manipulate the behavior of others. It is the freedom to choose the state of consciousness from which you observe and interact with the world. And this choice is absolutely determinative of your experience. So you see, God's ordering of your steps is not a limitation of your freedom, but the very mechanism through which your freedom expresses itself. By choosing your state of consciousness, you are essentially instructing God, your own wonderful human imagination, how to order your steps. And this brings us to a vital point. The ordering of your steps is not a process that unfolds only occasionally or in response to specific prayers or intentions. It is happening continuously in every moment of your existence, whether you are conscious of it or not. Your assumptions are constantly being projected outward and returning to you as the experiences of your life. This is why I emphasize the importance of mindfulness, of being attentive to the contents of your consciousness. What are you assuming right now? What state are you dwelling in? The answer to these questions will reveal the direction in which your steps are being ordered. If you find yourself in a state that does not align with your desires, remember that you have the freedom to choose again. You are never locked into any state of consciousness. At any moment, you can shift your assumption and thereby alter the course of your life. But how does one make this shift? It is not through force of will or through positive thinking as it is commonly understood. It is through the art of feeling, of experiencing in imagination the reality of the desired state. To shift from a state of lack to a state of abundance, you must feel the relief, the security, the freedom that abundance would bring. To shift from a state of loneliness to a state of loving relationship, you must feel the joy, the companionship, the intimacy that such a relationship would provide. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the directive that orders your steps toward the manifestation of your desire. And here, my dear friends, we touch upon a mystery so profound that it has eluded the greatest minds throughout human history. The mystery is this: the feeling of the wish fulfilled, persisted in, will order your steps, not only toward the manifestation of that wish, but the transformation of your very being. For the ultimate purpose of existence is not the accumulation of possessions or experiences, as wonderful as these may be. It is the realization of your divine identity, the awakening to the truth that you are God expressing himself as a unique human personality. This awakening is what Scripture calls the birth from above. It is the moment when you no longer believe in God as an external entity, but know yourself to be God in human form. And every event in your life, every step that has been ordered by your assumptions, has been leading you toward this supreme realization. I tell you truly, once you have awakened to your divine identity, you will look back on your life and see that every event, every encounter, every circumstance, whether you labeled it as fortunate or unfortunate, at the time was an assignment for divine orchestration leading you to this awakening. You will see that there were no mistakes, no wrong turns, no wasted experiences. All was perfectly ordered according to the law of consciousness, the law that is God in action. And in that recognition, you will feel a gratitude so profound that it transforms your understanding of the entire human journey. Let me illustrate this with a personal experience. Many years ago, I found myself in a situation that, by all external measures, appeared to be a devastating setback. I had invested considerable time and resources in a venture that failed completely, leaving me in a state of financial uncertainty. In that moment, I had a choice. I could assume that I was a victim of circumstance, that life was unfair, that my steps were being ordered toward hardship and lack. Or I could assume that this apparent setback was actually a divine redirection, ordering my steps toward a greater purpose that I could not yet perceive with my physical senses. I chose the latter assumption, not as a form of positive thinking or wishful optimism, but as a recognition of the law of consciousness that I knew to be true. I lived from the end of having already transcended this temporary challenge and having been led to a greater expression of my purpose. Within weeks, through a series of events that no human intellect could have orchestrated, I was introduced to opportunities that not only resolved the financial situation, but opened doors to share these teachings with audiences I would never have reached had the original venture succeeded. Looking back, I can see with perfect clarity that what appeared to be a setback was, in fact, God ordering my steps with flawless precision toward the fulfillment of my true purpose. And this is true not only in my experience, but in yours as well. Every experience you have ever had, every step you have ever taken, has been perfectly ordered to lead you to this moment, to this understanding, to this opportunity to awaken to your divine identity, and to consciously participate in the ordering of your steps. So how, in practical terms, do you align yourself with this divine orchestration? How do you consciously participate in God's ordering of your steps? Let me offer you specific guidance. First, clarify your desire. What is it that you truly want to experience? Not what you think is possible based on your current circumstances, but what would you choose if you knew that all things were possible to the God within you? Once you have clarity of your desire, construct a scene that would imply its fulfillment. This scene should be simple, concise, and imply that your desire is already a reality. Perhaps it is a conversation with a friend in which you share the good news of your desire's fulfillment. Perhaps it is simply the feeling of relief and satisfaction that would accompany the realization of your wish. With your scene constructed, enter into a state of relaxation. This is crucial, for the subconscious mind, which is the creative power of God within you, is most receptive when the conscious mind is temporarily suspended. Just before sleep is an ideal time for this practice, as the transition from wakefulness to sleep naturally bypasses the analytical, critical faculties of the conscious mind. In this relaxed state, enact your scene in imagination. See it clearly, hear the sounds that would accompany it, feel the emotions that would arise from the fulfillment of your desire. Make the scene as vivid and as real as possible, involving all your senses. Most importantly, feel the reality of what you are imagining. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the directive that orders your steps toward the manifestation of your desire. Repeat this practice nightly, or whenever you find yourself in a quiet, receptive state. Do not be concerned with how or when your desire will materialize. Your responsibility is not to figure out the process, but to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. As you go about your daily activities, maintain the assumption that your desire is already a reality in consciousness, which is the only reality. This does not mean denying the evidence of your senses or pretending that conditions are other than they appear to be. It means knowing that appearances are merely shadows, reflections of past assumptions, and that the newly established assumption will, in due course, replace these shadows with the substance of your desire. Throughout your day, whenever doubts or contradictory evidences present themselves, quietly return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not fight against negative thoughts or feelings. Simply withdraw your attention from them and redirect it to the assumption of fulfillment. This practice persisted in will order your steps with divine precision toward the manifestation of your desire. You need not concern yourself with the specific actions you should take or the decisions you should make. From the state of fulfilled desire, you will naturally think the thoughts, feel the feelings, and take the actions that lead to its externalization. But remember, the greatest desire, the ultimate purpose toward which all your steps are being ordered, is the realization of your divine identity. Every lesser desire, when fulfilled, is designed to lead you toward this supreme realization. So as you practice this art of conscious assumption, do so not only for the fulfillment of specific desires, but for the awakening to your true self. Assume the feeling, I am God, expressing as this unique human personality. Live from that assumption and watch as your steps are ordered toward experiences that confirm and deepen this truth. In the final analysis, God's ordering of your steps is not about controlling external events or accumulating possessions and experiences, as delightful as these may be. It is about awakening you to who you truly are and have always been, God Himself individualized as you. Every event in your life, every step you have taken, has been leading you toward this supreme realization. And once you have awakened to this truth, you will look back on your journey with profound gratitude, recognizing that all was perfectly ordered according to the divine pattern woven into the very fabric of your being. My dear friends, as we bring this discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a thought so powerful, so transformative, that if you truly embrace it, your life will never be the same. The God who is ordering your steps is not separate from you, is not external to you, is not other than you. The God who is ordering your steps is the very consciousness in which you live and move and have your being. You are that God expressing Himself as this unique human personality, this specific pattern of thinking and feeling and perceiving. And the more fully you embrace this truth, the more consciously you can participate in the ordering of your steps. So I say to you now, with all the conviction of my being, assume a divinity. Live from the certainty that you are God expressing in human form. Feel the peace, the power, the limitless potential that this realization brings. And from that state of divine self-awareness, watch as your steps are ordered with flawless precision toward experiences that reflect and confirm your true identity. Remember, the feeling is the secret. The feeling of being God in human form, of being the divine consciousness that orders all things according to its nature, is the most powerful assumption you can make. Live from that feeling And you will witness a transformation in your life so profound that you will pound in all the perfection with which your steps have been and are being ordered. I thank you for your attention, for your openness to these truths, and for your willingness to test them in the laboratory of your own experience. For that is where all truth must ultimately be verified, not in the realm of theory or belief, but in the lived reality of your daily life. Go now in the awareness of your divine identity, and watch as God orders your steps toward the fulfillment of your desires and the realization of your true self. For I tell you truly, as you assume your divinity, as you live from the certainty that you are God expressing in human form, your steps will be ordered with such divine precision that you will look back on this moment as the beginning of a new and glorious chapter in your eternal existence. In the words of Scripture, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Go forth now in the knowledge that you are that Lord, ordering your own steps through the power of your divine imagination. And in that knowledge, in that assumption, in that feeling lies the freedom and the power to create the life you desire to live. Thank you, and good night.
Let us delve into these habits that you must cease immediately, for they are the very barriers preventing you from manifesting your desires and living in the state of the wish fulfilled. The first habit that angers the God within you is doubt. When you rise in the morning, do you immediately begin to question your ability to achieve your goals? Do you look in the mirror and see limitations instead of infinite possibilities? This doubt, my dear friends, is a direct affront to the divine power that resides within you. For how can you expect to manifest your desires if you do not believe in your own godly nature? Remember, the world is but a mirror reflecting the beliefs you hold about yourself. If you wake up doubting your abilities, the world will conspire to prove you right. But if you rise with a firm conviction that you are a divine being capable of shaping reality itself, then the universe will bend to your will. To overcome this habit, you must practice what I call the art of assumption. Upon waking, before your feet touch the floor, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel it, believe it, know it to be true with every fiber of your being. For it is written, whatever you desire, believe that you have received it, and you will. This is not mere positive thinking, but a fundamental law of consciousness. The second habit that angers the God within is living in the past. How many of you wake up each morning and immediately begin to rehash the events of yesterday, last week, or even years gone by? You relive old hurts, past failures, and missed opportunities. My friends, this is a grave error. For in doing so, you are denying the power of the present moment. The only point of creation, the past, no matter how real it may seem, exists only in your imagination. It has no power over you unless you give it power. When you wake up and immediately dive into the pool of past regrets, you are effectively telling the God within you that you prefer the dead past to the living, vibrant present. Instead, I urge you to wake up each morning with the knowledge that this day, this very moment, is pregnant with infinite possibilities. The past does not equal the future unless you decree it to be so. Begin each day by imagining the life you desire, not ruminating on the life you've left behind. For in truth, there is no past or future, only the eternal now, in which all things are possible. The third habit that angers the God within is comparison. How many of you reach for your phones first thing in the morning, scrolling through social media, comparing your lives to the carefully curated images of others? This habit is not only detrimental to your mental well-being, but is also a direct denial of your own divine nature. When you compare yourself to others, you are essentially saying to the God within, I am not enough. I need to be more like this person or that person to be worthy. But I tell you, my friends, you are already complete, already perfect, already divine. The moment you were conceived in your mother's womb, you were imbued with all the power of the universe. Comparison is the thief of joy, but more than that, it is the murder of your divine potential. For how can you manifest your unique desires if you're constantly wishing to be someone else? Instead of reaching for your phone in the morning, reach into the depths of your own imagination. Visualize the person you wish to be, the life you wish to lead. For in doing so, you're not comparing yourself to others, but aligning yourself with your highest self, the God within. The fourth and final habit that angers the God within is ingratitude. How many of you wake up each morning focusing on what you lack rather than what you have? This habit of ingratitude is perhaps the most insidious, for it blinds you to the abundance that already exists in your life. When you focus on lack, you are telling the God within that it has not provided enough, that its creation, you and your life, is somehow flawed or incomplete. But I tell you, my friends, that gratitude is the highest form of praise you can offer to the divine presence within you. Begin each morning by counting your blessings, no matter how small they may seem. For in doing so, you are acknowledging the creative power of your imagination and opening yourself up to receive even greater blessings. Remember, the universe responds not to your wants, but to your consciousness of having or being. Now, let us explore how these four habits intertwine and reinforce each other, creating a web of negative consciousness that traps you in a state of unfulfillment. When you doubt yourself, you are more likely to dwell on past failures. When you dwell on the past, you become more prone to comparing yourself unfavorably to others. And when you constantly compare yourself to others, you fail to see and appreciate the blessings in your own life. But take heart, my dear friends, for just as these negative habits reinforce each other, so too can positive habits create an upward spiral of manifestation and fulfillment. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you naturally feel grateful for what you have. When you focus on gratitude, you are less likely to compare yourself to others. And when you cease comparison, you free yourself from the shackles of the past. Let me share with you a technique to break free from these habits and align yourself with the God within. I call it the morning ritual of revision. Each morning, before you fully awaken, enter that twilight state between sleep and wakefulness. In this state, your subconscious mind is most receptive to new impressions. Now, imagine yourself at the end of a perfect day. A day in which everything went exactly as you would have wished. See yourself lying in bed, filled with gratitude for the wonderful experiences you've had. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment. Make this scene as vivid and real as possible. Next, work backwards through this imaginary day, seeing each event unfold perfectly. See yourself succeeding in your endeavors, enjoying harmonious relationships, experiencing abundance in all areas of your life. Feel the emotions associated with each experience. The joy, the love, the sense of fulfillment. Finally, come back to the present moment, to your bed in the morning. But carry with you the feelings and the knowing that this perfect day is not just a fantasy, but a preview of the day to come. For remember, my friends, your imagination is the God within you, and it has the power to shape your reality. By practicing this morning ritual of revision, you are effectively rewriting the script of your life. You are telling the God within you, this is the life I choose to live. This is the reality I choose to experience. And the God within you, being no respecter of persons, will faithfully bring into your experience that which you have decreed. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried positive thinking before, and it didn't work. To this I say, positive thinking is not enough. What I am teaching you is not mere positive thinking, but a fundamental shift in consciousness. It's not about affirming what you want, but assuming the feeling of already having it. For you see, my dear friends, The secret to manifesting your desires lies not in the thing itself, but in the feeling associated with having that thing. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the vibrational frequency of your desire. And in doing so, you become a magnet for its physical manifestation. Let me illustrate this point with a story. There was once a man who desperately wanted a promotion at work. Every morning he would wake up and affirm, "I will get the promotion. I will get the promotion." But despite his affirmations, the promotion remained elusive. Then, this man learned the principle I am sharing with you today. Instead of affirming what he wanted, he began to assume the feeling of already having received the promotion. Each morning, he would wake up feeling the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would come with the promotion. He imagined himself sitting in his new office, feeling the plush leather chair beneath him. He heard the congratulations of his colleagues, felt the pride of his family. He lived from this state of having rather than wanting. And lo and behold, within a matter of weeks, he was called into his boss's office and offered the very promotion he had been imagining. You see, my friends, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not trying to manipulate external reality. Rather, you are aligning yourself with the version of reality in which your desire already exists. This is the power of your imagination, the God within you. It does not respond to what you want, but to what you are. When you assume the state of having your desire, you become the person who naturally attracts that desire into your experience. Now let us delve deeper into each of these morning habits and explore how you can transform them from stumbling blocks into stepping stones on your path to manifestation. The habit of doubt, as we discussed, is perhaps the most crippling. It is the voice that whispers, "You can't do it. You're not good enough. It's impossible." But I tell you, my dear friends, nothing is impossible to the God within you. For did not the great Master say, "With God all things are possible"? And are you not one with this God, this creative power of your own wonderful human imagination? To overcome doubt, you must cultivate an unshakable faith in your own divine nature. This faith is not blind belief, but a knowing that comes from experience. Start small. Choose something minor that you wish to experience. Perhaps a free cup of coffee or a compliment from a stranger. Assume the feeling of having received it. Live from that state of fulfillment. When your desire manifests, and it will, you will have tangible proof of the power within you. Build upon these small successes. Gradually take on larger and larger desires, always assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In time, you will develop an unshakable faith in your own creative power. The habit of living in the past is another formidable obstacle. It is like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. You cannot move forward if your attention is fixated on what's behind you. But remember, my friends, the past exists only in your imagination. It has no power over you unless you give it power. To break free from the shackles of the past, you must realize that every moment is a fresh opportunity for creation. The person you were yesterday, last year, or a decade ago is not who you are now, unless you decree it to be so. You have the power to rewrite your story at any moment. Practice what I call revision. Before you sleep each night, replay the events of your day in your imagination. But instead of reliving them as they occurred, revise them. See them unfolding in a way that pleases you. If you had an argument with a loved one, replay the scene in your mind, but this time see it ending in harmony and understanding. By revising the events of your day, you are not changing the past, for the past is but a shadow. Rather, you are changing your consciousness about the past. And since all of life is consciousness, you are effectively changing your point of attraction. You are telling the God within you, This is the reality I choose to experience, the habit of comparison. As we discussed, is a direct denial of your own unique divine nature. When you compare yourself to others, you are effectively saying to the God within, you made a mistake when you created me. I should be more like this person or that person. But I tell you, my dear friends, you are a unique expression of the divine. There has never been, nor will there ever be, another you. You have been imbued with your own unique gifts, your own unique path, your own unique purpose. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to the person you know you can be. See in your imagination the ideal version of yourself. What qualities does this ideal self possess? How does this ideal self think, speak, and act? Now, assume the feeling of being that ideal self. Live from that state of consciousness. Remember, the world is a mirror, reflecting back to you your beliefs about yourself. When you assume the state of being your ideal self, the world will reflect back to you experiences that confirm this new self-concept. The habit of ingratitude, as we explored, blinds you to the abundance that already exists in your life. It keeps you focused on what you lack rather than what you have. But gratitude, my dear friends, is the key that unlocks the floodgates of abundance. Begin each morning by counting your blessings. But don't just list them intellectually. Feel the gratitude deep in your heart. Feel the joy, the appreciation, the love for all that you have and all that you are. For in doing so, you are acknowledging the creative power of your imagination and opening yourself up to receive even greater blessings. Remember, the universe responds not to your wants, but to your consciousness of having or being. When you live in a state of gratitude, you're living from the consciousness of abundance. And from this state of consciousness, you naturally attract more to be grateful for. Now, let us tie all of these concepts together and explore how you can create a morning routine that aligns you with the God within and sets you up for a day of successful manifestation. Begin your day in that twilight state between sleep and wakefulness. In this state, your subconscious mind is most receptive to new impressions. Start by feeling gratitude for the new day. For the breath in your lungs, feel gratitude for the comfortable bed you're lying in. For the roof over your head. For the loved ones in your life. Next, enter into the state of your wish fulfilled. Whatever it is you desire. Be it a new job, a loving relationship, perfect health, or financial abundance. Assume the feeling of already having it. See yourself living that life. Feel the emotions associated with having your desire fulfilled. Make this scene as vivid and real as possible. Now carry this feeling with you as you start your day. As you shower, as you dress, as you eat your breakfast, maintain the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Live from the state of already being the person you wish to be, already having the things you wish to have. Throughout your day, whenever you find yourself slipping into old habits of doubt, dwelling on the past, comparing yourself to others, or focusing on lack, gently bring yourself back to the state of your wish fulfilled. Remember, your imagination is the God within you, and it is faithfully bringing into your experience that which you are consciously assuming to be true. My dear friends, what I'm sharing with you today is not mere theory or philosophy. It is a practical application of spiritual law. It is the very science of deliberate creation. When you understand and apply these principles, you hold in your hands the key to shaping your reality according to your desires. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Use this knowledge wisely. Do not seek to manipulate or control others, for in doing so, you are denying their divine nature and limiting your own. Instead, use your creative power to uplift yourself and others. For as you rise, you naturally lift those around you. The 4 morning habits we've discussed: doubt, living in the past, comparison, and ingratitude, are not sins in the traditional sense. They do not anger some external God. Rather, they are barriers that prevent you from fully expressing the God within you. They are the clouds that obscure the sun of your divine nature. By consciously choosing to release these habits and embrace their positive counterparts, faith, living in the present, self-appreciation, and gratitude, you are choosing to align yourself with your highest self. You are choosing to live from the state of your wish fulfilled. And as you make this choice, day after day, you will begin to see your life transform. The circumstances of your external reality will gradually align themselves with your new internal state. For remember, the outer world is but a reflection of your inner world. Some of you may be thinking, but Neville, this all sounds too good to be true. Surely it can't be this simple. To this I sigh. It is this simple. But that doesn't mean it's always easy. It requires practice, persistence, and patience. It requires a willingness to challenge your old beliefs and embrace a new understanding of yourself. You may stumble along the way. There may be days when you fall back into old habits. But do not be discouraged. For even in those moments, you are still the God within, capable of choosing again, of reimagining your reality. Remember, my dear friends, you're not merely human beings having a spiritual experience. You are spiritual beings having a human experience. You are the God within, experiencing itself through the vessel of your human form. The power to shape your reality lies not in some external force, but in the creative power of your own imagination. It is your consciousness, your awareness, your assumption that determines the course of your life. So I urge you, my dear friends, to awaken to your true nature. Recognize the divine presence within you. Use the power of your imagination wisely and lovingly. For in doing so, you are not only transforming your own life, but you are contributing to the transformation of the entire world. So you see, as each individual awakens to their divine nature, as each person begins to consciously create their reality from a place of love and abundance, the collective consciousness of humanity is uplifted. And as the collective consciousness rises, so too does the experience of all beings on this planet. You are not separate from the world around you. You are an integral part of it. Your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions ripple out into the universe when you choose to live from a state of love, abundance, and fulfillment. You are contributing to the creation of a world that reflects these qualities. As we conclude our exploration of these 4 morning habits, I invite you to commit to a new way of being. Each morning as you wake, make a conscious choice to align yourself with the God within. Choose faith over doubt, present awareness over past regrets, self-appreciation over comparison, and gratitude over lack. Remember, the power to change your life lies not in some distant future, but in this very moment. It is in the choices you make, the thoughts you think, the feelings you cultivate. Your life is not happening to you. It is responding to you, to your consciousness, to your assumptions, to your inner state of being. In the days and weeks to come, observe your life closely. Watch as your external reality begins to shift in response to your new inner state. Celebrate the manifestations of your desires, no matter how small they may seem at first, for each manifestation is proof of the power within you and a stepping stone to even greater creations. And finally, my dear friends, share this knowledge with others, not through preaching or trying to convince, but by living as an example. Let your life be a testament to the power of conscious creation, for as you embody these truths, you become a beacon of light, silently guiding others to awaken to their own divine nature. Go forth now with the knowledge that you are the God within, the creator of your reality. Live boldly, love deeply, and create consciously. For in doing so, you are fulfilling your highest purpose and contributing to the elevation of all humanity.
Consider for a moment the journey that has brought you to this point. You have longed, you have prayed with all the fervor of your being. And now, at this very instant, the universe conspires to bring you the answer you seek. This is no mere coincidence, my dear friends. This is the law of assumption at work, the principle that underlies all creation. Let us delve deeper into this marvelous truth. You see, when you pray, when you imagine with feeling, you are not reaching out to some external deity or force. No, you are awakening the God within you, the I am that is the very essence of your being. This I am is the creator of all that is, was, and ever will be. It is the power that moves worlds, that shapes reality to conform to your desires. But here's the critical point that so many fail to grasp. Your prayer is not answered because you have asked. It is answered because you have already received. In the realm of the infinite, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, the moment you imagine with feeling, you have planted the seed of manifestation. And just as surely as a seed grows into a mighty oak, your imaginal act must bear fruit in the world of Caesar. Now you might ask, but Neville, if my prayer is already answered, why haven't I seen the evidence in my three-dimensional world? This is where faith comes into play, not as a blind belief in something outside of yourself, but as the absolute knowing that what you have imagined must come to pass. For faith is nothing more than loyalty to your unseen reality. Remember, my dear friends, that creation is finished. All that you could ever desire already exists in the infinite realm of possibility. Your task is not to create anew, but to select the reality you wish to experience, and then to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the true meaning of prayer, the secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout the ages. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance. Instead of begging an external God for money or working yourself to exhaustion in the hope of accumulating wealth, you would simply assume the feeling of already being financially secure. You would walk, talk, and think from the standpoint of someone who has all the money they could ever need. This is not pretense or self-deception. This is the activation of a law as inexorable as gravity. As you persist in this assumption, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. This is not magic or mysticism. This is the fundamental nature of reality, the creative power of consciousness that you have been using all your life, albeit unconsciously. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I've been imagining and assuming for so long, and still my desire hasn't manifested. To you, I say this, the seed you have planted must have time to grow. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check on their progress, you must not constantly question or doubt the efficacy of your imaginal acts. Trust in the law, for it never fails. Moreover, understand that the how and when of your manifestation is not your concern. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption. The infinite intelligence that pervades all of creation will take care of the details. Your desired end may come about in ways you never could have anticipated. This is why it's crucial to focus on the end result, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, rather than the means by which it might come about. Let us now turn our attention to the concept of time, for it plays a crucial role in the manifestation of our desires. In the world of Caesar, time appears linear, a steady progression from past to present to future. But in the realm of imagination, in the reality of your I am, all time is now. This eternal now is the point of power, the nexus where all possibilities converge. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand why your prayer is ready to be answered at this very moment. For in aligning your consciousness with the desired end, you have effectively collapsed time. You have brought the future into the present. making it as real as tangible as the chair you're sitting on or the air breathing. This is why I often emphasize the importance of living from the end. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live as though your desire is already a fact, you are not projecting into some hypothetical future. You are actualizing that reality now in this eternal moment of creation. Consider the biblical injunction, before they call, I will answer. This is not describing a benevolent deity anticipating your needs. It is revealing the true nature of creation. The answer to your prayer exists before the question is even formed, because all possibilities already exist. Your prayer, your imaginal act, is merely the selection of one of these infinite possibilities. Now, let us address a common misconception that often hinders people from fully embracing this principle. Many believe that their current circumstances, their past experiences, or the opinions of others have the power to prevent their desires from manifesting. Nothing could be further from the truth. Your present circumstances are nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you grant them that power through your attention and belief. The opinions of others, no matter how well-intentioned, are equally powerless unless you choose to accept them as truth. This is why it's so crucial to guard the portals of your mind, to be selective about the thoughts you entertain and the assumptions you make. For every thought, every assumption is a seed that must bear fruit in your experience. By consciously choosing thoughts that align with your desires, you are literally shaping your future reality. But remember, it's not enough to merely think positive thoughts or repeat affirmations. The power lies in feeling, in experiencing the reality of your desire in your imagination with all the vividness and sensory detail you can muster. For your subconscious mind, the seat of creation, cannot distinguish between an imagined experience and a physical one. To it, all impressions are equally real. This is why I often advocate for the use of what I call living in the end techniques. These are mental exercises designed to impress upon your subconscious the reality of your desire. One such technique is the congratulatory scene, where you imagine friends or family members congratulating you on the achievement of your desire. As you enact this scene in your mind, feel the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment as though it were happening right now. Another powerful technique is what I call revision. This involves mentally rewriting past events to align with your desired outcome. By doing so, you are not changing the past in a literal sense, but you are changing your memory of it, which in turn alters your present and future. For remember, time is fluid in the realm of imagination. Now I can sense that some of you might be struggling with doubt. You might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, Neville, but can it really be that simple? To you I say this, the principle is indeed simple. But that doesn't mean it's always easy. It requires discipline, persistence, and above all, faith. But consider this, haven't you already been using this principle unconsciously throughout your life? Haven't you experienced times when you worried incessantly about something, only to have that very thing come to pass? Or conversely, haven't you had experiences where you were absolutely certain of a positive outcome, and despite all odds, it materialized? These experiences are not coincidences or quirks of fate. They are demonstrations of the law of assumption at work. The only difference now is that you are becoming conscious of this process, taking control of it, rather than letting it operate by default. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle in action. Many years ago, I found myself in New York City, broke and seemingly out of options. I had a burning desire to travel to Barbados, my homeland, but I lacked the means to do so. Instead of succumbing to despair, I chose to apply the law. Every night, as I fell asleep, I would imagine myself lying in my berth on a ship bound for Barbados. I could feel the gentle rocking of the vessel, smell the salt air, hear the lapping of the waves against the hull. I lived in this imaginal scene with all the intensity I could muster, knowing that what I was experiencing in my imagination was no less real than my physical surroundings. Within a matter of days, a series of unexpected events unfolded. A friend offered me a ticket to Barbados completely out of the blue. The manifestation of my desire seemed nothing short of miraculous to those around me, but I knew it was simply the law in operation. This, my dear friends, is the power that is available to each and every one of you. It is not reserved for the special few, the spiritually advanced, or the exceptionally lucky. It is your birthright as a human being, as a creative consciousness expressing itself in human form. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of manifestation, for understanding the process can help strengthen your faith and resolve. When you imagine with feeling, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you are literally rearranging the substance of the universe. For all of creation is nothing more than consciousness externalized. Think of it this way, the entire universe is a vast ocean of consciousness, and your individual awareness is like a wave upon that ocean. When you change your consciousness through imagination and assumption, you are creating ripples that extend outward, affecting everything in your world. This is why it's so important to be mindful of your mental diet, of the thoughts and feelings you habitually entertain. For every mental state is radiating outward, attracting experiences and circumstances that match its frequency. By consciously choosing elevated thoughts and feelings, you are tuning yourself to a higher frequency of experience. But here's a crucial point that many miss. It's not enough to merely visualize or affirm your desire. You must embody it. Feel it with every fiber of your being. For it is feeling that gives life to your imaginal acts. Feeling is the secret, the bridge between your inner world and your outer reality. Consider the biblical phrase, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The emphasis here is on the heart, the seat of feeling. It's not enough to think intellectually about your desire. You must feel it to be true, to know it with such certainty that you can relinquish all doubt and anxiety. This is where many stumble on their manifestation journey. They can visualize their desire clearly, they can articulate it precisely, but they struggle to feel it as a present reality. If this resonates with you, I encourage you to start with small, easily believable desires. Build your faith muscle gradually, and soon you'll find yourself manifesting with ease and confidence. Remember, the law is impartial. It doesn't judge whether your desire is good or bad, worthy or unworthy. It simply responds to your dominant assumptions and feelings. This is why it's so important to be clear about what you truly want. To examine your desires and ensure they align with your highest good and the good of others. Now, let's address another common concern, the apparent delay between your imaginal act and its physical manifestation. Many become discouraged when their desire doesn't materialize immediately, interpreting this as a failure of the law. But nothing could be further from the truth. The delay, or what appears as delay in the world of Caesar, is actually a necessary part of the manifestation process. It allows for the rearrangement of circumstances, the alignment of people and events that will bring about your desire in the most natural and harmonious way possible. During this period of apparent inaction, your task is to remain faithful to your assumption. This doesn't mean constantly thinking about your desire or obsessively visualizing it. Rather, it means living from the state of the wish fulfilled, carrying the feeling of its reality with you throughout your day. Think of it as planting a seed. Once you've planted it, you don't keep digging it up to check on its progress. You water it, you provide the right conditions for growth. And then you trust in the natural process of germination and growth. Your imaginal act is the seed, and your persistent assumption is the nurturing it needs to flourish. This brings us to another crucial aspect of the law: detachment. Many make the mistake of becoming overly attached to their desire, constantly checking for signs of its manifestation, becoming anxious or discouraged when it doesn't appear immediately. This attachment actually pushes the desire further away, for it stems from a place of lack and need. True detachment comes from the knowing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, which is the only reality. When you truly feel this, you can relax into the certainty of its manifestation, releasing all anxiety and doubt. This state of relaxed detachment is what I often refer to as the Sabbath. It's a state of complete rest from your mental labors, a total acceptance of your desire as an accomplished fact. When you can enter this state, you have mastered the art of manifestation. Now I want to address those of you who might be facing particularly challenging circumstances. Perhaps you're dealing with financial hardship, health issues, or relationship problems that seem insurmountable. To you I say this: no circumstance is beyond the power of your imagination to change. Remember, your present circumstances are nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions and beliefs. They have no power to persist unless you grant them that power through your continued attention and belief. By shifting your focus to your desired end, by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, despite all contrary evidence, you set in motion the forces that will transform your reality. This is where real faith comes into play. Not faith in an external power or force, but faith in the power of your own imagination, in the I am within you. This faith is unshakable because it's based on understanding, on the knowledge of how the universe actually works. Let me share with you another personal experience that illustrates this principle. There was a time when I found myself in dire financial straits, unable to pay my rent and facing eviction. Instead of succumbing to panic and despair, I chose to apply the law. Every night as I fell asleep, I would imagine my landlord congratulating me on being such a prompt and reliable tenant. I lived in this imaginal scene with all the intensity I could muster, feeling the relief and satisfaction of having my rent paid in full. I persisted in this assumption, despite the seemingly hopeless nature of my external circumstances. Within a matter of days, a series of unexpected events unfolded. A friend who owed me money from years ago suddenly repaid the debt, providing me with exactly the amount I needed for rent. To the outside observer, it might have seemed like a lucky coincidence. But I knew it was the law in operation, responding to my assumption and faith. This experience and countless others like it have proven to me beyond any doubt that the law is infallible. It always works without exception. If it appears to have failed, it's only because we have failed to apply it correctly or consistently. Now, as we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a point of utmost importance. The purpose of this knowledge, of this power that you possess, is not merely to accumulate material possessions or to fulfill fleeting desires. Its true purpose is to awaken you to your divine nature, to the God within you. For you see, my dear friends, you are not merely human beings having a spiritual experience. You are spiritual beings having a human experience. The I am within you, the awareness that says I am, is God Himself. It is the creator of all that is, was, and ever will be. When you truly grasp this truth, when you fully embody it, your entire perspective shifts. You no longer see yourself as a limited, powerless being at the mercy of external circumstances. Instead, you recognize yourself as the author of your life story, the creator of your reality. This realization brings with a profound sense of responsibility. For if you are the creator of your reality, then you are responsible for everything in your experience, both the desirable and the undesirable. This might seem daunting at first, but it is actually incredibly liberating. For if you have the power to create undesirable circumstances through your assumptions, you also have the power to create desirable ones. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought, the message that has reached you today. The knowledge that your prayer is ready to be answered is not by chance. It is a call to awakening, an invitation to step into your true power as a created being. You have within you the power to shape your reality, to manifest your deepest desires, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment. This power is not something you need to acquire or develop. It is already yours, waiting to be recognized and utilized. So go forth from this place with a new understanding, a new awareness of who you truly are. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled, knowing that what you imagine with feeling must inevitably manifest in your experience. Trust in the law, for it never fails. And remember, my dear friends, that the greatest discovery of all time is that you can change your world, your circumstances, your entire life by changing your concept of yourself. For you are the operant power, the I am, the God within. Let this message be the catalyst for a new chapter in your life. Let it be the turning point where you step into your true power, where you begin to consciously create the life you desire. For your prayer is indeed ready to be answered. The power to manifest that answer lies within you, here and now, in this eternal moment of creation. Go forth and create, my dear friends. Go forth and live from the state of the wish fulfilled. For in doing so, you are fulfilling your divine purpose. You are expressing the infinite creativity of the God within you. And in this expression, you will find true joy, true fulfillment, and the realization of your highest potential. As you leave this gathering, carry with you the knowledge that every moment is an opportunity for creation. Each thought, each feeling, each assumption is a seed planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Nurture these seeds with your unwavering faith and persistent assumption, and watch as they blossom into the beautiful garden of your desired reality. Remember that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. As you transform your inner world through the power of imagination and assumption, your outer world must inevitably follow suit. This is the law, immutable and eternal, waiting for you to apply it consciously and deliberately in every aspect of your life. Trust in the perfect timing of the universe. Your prayer is ready to be answered not because you have asked, but because you have already received in the realm of imagination. Live in the joyous expectation of its manifestation, knowing that the bridge of incidents is already forming to bring your desire into physical reality. In closing, I urge you to test this law in your own life. Start with small things, build your faith, and then move on to greater manifestations. For as you prove the law in your own experience, you will gain an unshakable confidence in your creative power. And with this confidence, there will be no limit to what you can achieve, no dream too grand to realize. Go forth, create boldly, and live the life you've always imagined, for you are the author of your story, the creator of your world, the God of your universe.